Hello, Math 1 Focus students. This is Mr. Power. We're actually going to use our book. So if you find your math book, I'm going to flip it around here. We're going to be doing topic 6. I'm on page 330. We're going to work on chapter 6 or topic 6 starting this week, and we'll probably spend a couple weeks on percents. So I'm just turning a few pages here. Lesson 6.1, understanding percents. Now the word percent is actually made up of two like Latin prefix and suffix. Per means divide by, and cent means 100. So it literally means divide by 100 or out of 100. That's what the word percent means. Problem is you always don't have, it's not always out of 100. What if it's out of 50 or out of 10? Anyways, but if it is, then you try to get it, rewrite it so that it is out of 100. But anyways, the word percent means divide by 100 or out of 100. So let's look at some examples here. And so one way to think of percent is just understanding it is when you, this is a 10 by 10 grid, and if this much is shaded, the question is what percent is shaded? Well, if it's 10 by 10 and you have 7 columns of 10, that's 70 out of 100, which is 70%, because percent means out of 100. If you do it on a number line, this is 7 out of 10, which is 70 out of 100, which is 70%, right? And so I'm gonna, here, A, this would be half. This is 1 out of 2, which is 50%. Here, B is 1 out of 4, which would be 25 out of 100, which is 25%, right? There's like C would be 50%, D would be 3 out of 4, which would be 75%. And then down here, here's a tougher one here. And another way to think of percent is part over total. So if this is 10%, which would be 10 out of 100, then the 4, which is the part, so what's the total? I don't know. Well, how'd you get from here to here? Isn't that times 10? So wouldn't that be times 10? So the total is going to be 40. Or you just go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. You can do it that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just 4 times 10 is 40. But this is going to be a nice way to do it. Just make your proportions. Make your circle, part over total. So percent is always goes over 100. And then if you're given the part, you can see that's just times 10 times 10. This would be 40. And then here's another example. So 200%. So part over total. You have 2, and I don't care if you put the percent at the beginning or the end, but 200 over 100. The 6 was the part. Your total is, we don't know. Anyways, this is just divide by 2, divide by 2. This is 3, right? So, anyways, a nice way to attack these is just put part over total when you make your circle, and then you just go like that, and the percent always goes over 100. And you could do it in a table way too here like that. But anyways, so we're just going to look through some problems here. I'm really not going to ask you to, I'm just going to ask you to just follow along and watch here on this first video here. So when writing a percent as a fraction, what number do you write as the whole or the denominator? Well, 7% would be 7 over 100. So your denominator is always 100, okay? Why are tenths, fifths, fourths, halves easy to express as percents? Well, 7/10 would be 70 out of 100, because you just go times 10 times 10, or 2/5 times 20 times 20, that'd be 40%. Or 3/4 would be times 25 times 25, that would be 75%. 1/2 would be times 50 times 50, that'd be 50%. Why are they easy to express as percents? Because they're easy to rewrite fractions where your denominator is 100, right? I'm gonna skip those. So here, so write each percent. This is 4 out of 10, which is 40 out of 100, which is 40%. This is 7 out of 100, so that's 7%. 1/5, well, you can go times 20 times 20 to get that to be 20 out of 100. That's going to be 20%. If you have 3/10, isn't 3 times 10 going to be 30? So 10 times 10 is going to be 100, so this is 30%. So here, this is 11 times 5 is 55, so 20 times 5 is 100. So that's 55%. Skip that one. I don't feel like looking back at that. So if I was to shade 14%, well, that would be, here's 10, and then 4 more. That'd be the easiest way of doing it. But you're just going to shade in 14 of them because it's 10 by 10. Now here, if you have 5 boxes, 20% would be 1/5 is 20%. That's times 20 times 20. So you just shade in 1 out of 5, that'd be 20%. Like if you had 40%, that'd be 2/5. So here, 50, if AB represents 50%, so here, part over total, so 50 out of 100, and if 3 is the part, then what's the, what is the length? Well, that's just going to be times 2 times 2. That's going to be, the total length is 6. Now if AB is 300%, well here, part over total, you put 300 over 100, and here the 3 is the part, well then the total must have just been 1 inch. Right? So again, if you just make your circle, or make your table, obey your table, or make your circle, obey your circle. It's the easiest way to do that. Here, your friend shows you a coin collection. In it, 45 out of 50 of the coins are quarters, so you got quarters in total. So 45 are quarters out of a total of 50, so what percent? Well, 100 is going to be here, so that's just times 2 times 2. That's going to be 90. And here, what if I just did it where I made a circle? Here's quarters and total. And so the 100 goes here. I'm trying to find the percent. I don't know. But there's 45 out of 50. Well, that's just times 2. So times 2. So it's going to be 90%. That's another way you could do it, where you just make your circle, obey your circle. So here, in the race, 19 out of 50 runners finished with fewer than 30 minutes. So what percent finished in fewer than 30 minutes? So finished in total, so 19 out of 50, well that'd be 38 out of 100, because that's times 2 times 2. So that'd be 38%. Again, you could have done like this. Just make your circle and do it. A basketball player made 63 out of 100 free throw attempts. What percent of free throws did he make? Well, 63 out of 100 would be 63%. That's kind of a friendly question there. Now here, I actually didn't read it carefully. If it's sunny 4 out of 5 days, that would be times 2 times 2. That'd be 80% of the days are sunny. But the question was, on what percent of the days was it sun not shining? And so if it's shining 80% of the days, that means it must mean 20% it's not shining. They should, either it's shining or it's not shining. If it's shining 80%, then it's not shining 20%. So anyways, there's your first introduction into just percents. And we'll call it good.